So let's start with this. We're going to start talking about a pre-approval. And I know some of y'all listening, you're like, what is a pre-approval? Well, let me just tell you up front, a pre-approval is something that you need to have before you go working with a realtor. Before a realtor is going to go show you a house, you should have a pre-approval. Now, of course, it's a lot of great realtors out here. So a lot of these realtors, what they will do is they will make sure that they send you in the right direction to go get a pre-approval. But the reason why you should get a pre-approval first is because you don't want to go and start looking at homes and then you see a home that you love and guess what happens? You're not ready to buy it. So somebody else buys it. Now you upset, you mad, you wishing that you would have already had this pre-approval so you can put an offer in because you can't put an offer in without this pre-approval. So we have to make sure you get a pre-approval. So if you don't know what a pre-approval is, I'll explain that. A pre-approval is something that the bank gives you to say that this is what you are qualified for at this point. So you can be qualified for 120,000, 150,000. It just shows you what you can handle at this point. So what you have to make sure is when you get that pre-approval that you take that to your realtor so your realtor knows, okay, this is what we can show them. They can't show you a house and they don't know how much you can actually spend on a house. So a pre-approval, what you have to do in order to get a pre-approval is a couple things, okay? Number one, what they're going to do is they're going to ask you to verify your income. They're going to check your credit score. They're going to check to see how much money you have in your reserves. So like your savings account, they're going to check these things. So you have to make sure that credit score, I've seen people get loans at 580. I mean, you don't want to get a loan at 580, maybe 650, 660, but just make sure that you have the understanding that your credit score has to be there. You have to be able to verify your income. And once you be able to do that, they should be able to give you a pre-approval. Now, keep in mind, some banks and other mortgage companies may not give you a pre-approval. So don't get discouraged. Don't run from it. Don't get angry. Hey, I'm not doing this no more. I don't deserve a house because I can't get. No, that's just one bank. Go to other ones. Now, keep in mind, though, they do run your credit. So it is a hard inquiry on your credit once you go for that pre-approval. But if you really want a house that bad, hey, don't take this from me, but I would still go for it. Okay. So make sure that you still go look for it. The other thing that I want to make sure that I mention is that when you go to talk to these lenders, you should be able to find a lender. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's all types of grants out here for first-time home buyers, where some of the grants allow you to not even put any money down. So make sure when you going to get that pre-approval, you actually talk to your lender about that as well. Okay. Now I want to tell you a few things of what not to do once you get that pre-approval. Number one, what you want to make sure you do is keep all your money in reserves. Whatever you had in your savings, make sure you keep that money, okay? Because what you don't want to do is go spend your money and say, you know what, I'm going to pay off all my bills now before I go get in this house. Because if you do that, you do understand that they still have to check that. So they checking and watching your account. So just so you know, having a pre-approval does not mean approved. It's still a long process before you actually get approved for that house. You still have to go through the underwriting process and the underwriting steps. So make sure that when you are getting your pre-approval, make sure that you're not spending your reserves because they're watching everything you do, okay? And then number two, what you have to, the most important, this is very important, please do not open a new line of credit. Don't go co-sign a car for your cousin. We're not doing that. Don't go add a new credit card. Don't do that. You have to make sure you don't open a new line of credit because once you do that, it can drop your credit score, which can cause problems with the bank. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to mess up your pre-approval. You don't want to mess that up, okay? And you got to keep in mind too, that every time that you do anything with your credit, I mean, that is an inquiry. If you're going and running your credit, it can be an inquiry. So you don't want to mess that up. And number three, don't stop paying your bills, okay? Don't think, well, I'm about to get a house anyway. So because I'm about to get a house, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop paying my bills. I want to have all my money saved so when I go into my new house, I don't never miss a beat. Well, you don't want to stop paying your bills because that can affect you as well, all right? And I just want to make sure that you do all those things to keep your pre-approval intact. Then you really want to make sure that you get with the right realtor and the right lender, okay? Because even though you may be pre-approved for $250,000, only you really know what you can afford, okay? Don't go and spend $250,000 on a house if you're not ready to pay that mortgage. So that's my tips for you. Make sure you keep your pre-approval intact. After you get it, make sure you work with the right realtor and the right lender that actually cares about you.